We need to talk about the price of Final Fantasy just one more time, because we're in a weird situation where Final Fantasy collector boosters are getting to an insane price. Singular collector boosters are selling right now for around the £90 mark, and booster boxes of collector boosters as of last week were selling for £1,000. They have trended slightly downwards and selling for around 900, 870 in the UK at the moment. MSRP is 35 or 40 for a singular booster. This is an astronomical price hike and markup. And I just want to talk about like why it is and what it means for the future of Magic, and whether this is the new norm too. If you like the stuff that I do and want to get involved with my Discord server, just £2 a month gets you access there. We're about to run a Chaos Box League where we open virtually 24 packs on like a Draft Monster, build decks and play them digitally against one another. It should be a good time. And if you want to buy singles or sealed product in North America, you can do so from coolstuffinc.com. Use the code Kenobi at checkout to get 5% off your order. And if you're ordering in Europe, you can order from magicmadhouse.co.uk on any non-sale and non-pre-order items using the code PKEdging in honor of Edge of Eternities in order to get 5% off your order, and it helps support the show. Okay, so the prices are absolutely ridiculous. But let's start out by asking, does it really matter? For the collector booster product, it shouldn't matter. Now, let me explain what I mean by that before you all get very angry at me in the comments. Is that collector booster product being £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 doesn't actually matter if all it is cosmetics. If all it is fancy dancy foil versions of things. There is a small caveat to that in the sense that the collector boosters being opened do add to the quantity of non-foil or foil commons that aren't exciting, but there is an increase in availability of cards thanks to collector boosters being opened. However, in the case of Final Fantasy, where there's so few of them and they can't just print more because there's serialized cards in them, what I mean by that is there is an assumption made that if a card is serialized and the drop rate of it is written on the back of the packet, you can't create more of that product because it would adjust the drop rate of serial cards in those collector boosters. We saw this with Lord of the Rings when they did a second run of collector boosters in the Christmas time after Lord of the Rings launched, but they launched it as a new gift collector booster, had new alternate frames in it to make it more enticing to players to still purchase, but couldn't have the serialized elven, dwarven, human, or one rings in them. One rings, one ring. The others were multiples, the one ring was a singular. So for that reason, we aren't getting a restock of anything that ever has a serialized card in it. So we're not getting a restock of the Final Fantasy boosters, although I have a strong suspicion, a hunch if you will, that we'll get some, perhaps with retro alternate arts. I talked about this in the previous video, coming later down the line in a Christmas release of some kind. It feels like with the success of this, it'd be weird if they didn't rush to do that sort of thing with it, or hadn't planned for it in the first place with the forecasts that were coming. Don't forget, this stuff was the most successful thing ever sold ever during the pre-order window. Although that said, I must say that most things are designed and created with a 2-year turnaround prior to them coming out. So during the pre-order window, they're not exactly going to make a new Final Fantasy product, if you will. Although they can do faster turnarounds. We're aware they can do that sometimes. Secret Lairs, for example. So doing a new frame treatment, then going for a second print one, removing the serializer with a new frame treatment, doesn't seem outside the realms of possibility. So that's all those caveats and explanations out of the way. So I said that it doesn't matter if the things are expensive, right? The reason I say that is that it shouldn't matter if all the other cards are readily available in normal boosters and in normal product. And readily available, I mean accessible to purchase, relatively easy to get hold of, and just not at a premium price either. The problem we have on the Commander side of things is that, like the Cloud deck, for example, is now selling at £100 at most UK retailers. The less desirable, sorry, £100 is the cheaper version. There are more expensive sales out there because everyone is following suit, by the way. I'm not calling out any particular store here. This is like an industry-wide thing. A few local LGSs are selling things at lower prices. The Terra deck, the Enchantment deck, I think it might be the Mardu one, that one is at like £55, £60 because no one wants it. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy 7 are hugely marked up because of the desire and the want for them. So the cards in them, the unique cards like the Cloud, which, just want to say it here, Cloud from the Commander deck, this one, I think this card is absolutely obnoxious. Like, I played the precon the other day against non-precons and still smashed people because people kind of ignored me, and then out of nowhere, I was just like double combat attacking, drawing multiple cards, just doing insane amounts of damage. This guy is so unbelievably pushed, as is the Tifa in this deck as well. It's so clear to me that they're pushed because they're such fan favorite popular characters too. It makes Dogmeat look like a pile of shit. But if those decks are like sold out everywhere, although we are seemingly getting restocks, they can restock these, they can do with collector boosters or the foil versions of these, then I guess over time it happened with the Warhammer decks. The Warhammer decks were sold out and they were very powerful and everyone wanted them, and they kept reprinting them. At the time of like about a year on from Warhammer. It was one of the most successful products they'd ever made, and they'd reprint them at least, I remember getting an anecdote from someone that they would reprint them 4 different times. So, and by reprint, I mean not into a new product, but the same product again, and then back to distributors into stores. So people got restocks of the Imperium deck and restocks of the Necron deck. We'll probably see that with the main line Final Fantasy decks, at least for a period, but eventually they stopped doing that for all product, let alone the things that they have a limited window to interact with whatever license they've paid for. And then on the flip side of that, you got things that aren't Commander, the things that go into and are played more so, supposedly, in Standard, Modern, Pioneer, and the Commander stuff's Legacy too. This is the stuff with the normal play boosters. But again, the normal play boosters aren't at the normal price, right? They're at like a 30% markup on normal booster prices. And even then, on a cursory check this morning, I mean, I did a video talking about how these packs, these booster boxes are going to be £170. They're actually up more towards 180, 190. Some shops are selling like over £200 a box for play boosters. And thus the entire product range is expensive. So that leads me to say, actually, I do care that the collector boosters are expensive because it's like part of the problem. If we had a normal booster price range, a normal availability for the Commander decks, a regular reprint of those, I don't really give a fuck if the foils and the fancy extended arts and shit are in the primo super expensive chase shit that everyone's clamoring for. That would be actually a good thing, but we actually don't have that. Instead, we have a price gouge across the entire thing. It's almost like a knock-on effect to an extent. I guess it's the Final Fantasy fans are fucking mad for it, frothing at the gash, if you will. But there are some other like consumer advocacy complaints that I have about this whole situation, and this is not a new thing. Any of you who've watched my videos more religiously will have heard this comment before, but I've talked about in the past about them like cutting parts of the animal off to sell it to us again later at a premium price. Once upon a time in normal boosters, when they're like £3.50, £4, I know I'm an old man, but once upon a time at those prices, we got masterpieces or inventions or expeditions in those packs. The most expensive lottery chase cards you could open were in normal packs. Hell, prior to the expeditions, the proto expedition was hidden treasures. In the first print run of original Zendikar, they put like revised and unlimited cards, and maybe even alpha and beta, I can't remember for certain, but they put older copies of like Power 9, not Power 9, but, well, there was some Power 9, but like reserve list stuff, like dual lands and shit, into these packs, and this was like organically became aware of as at pre-release weekend. I remember this distinctly because I went to a Zendikar pre-release. People were saying that someone else down in Portsmouth, for example, had opened a fucking dual land, and that is really cool marketing, and like not even mentioning it. They recently did it for Dominaria United. They somehow found some Legends packs that were in a warehouse somewhere. It makes you wonder what they've got at Wizards, right? And they put them into the packs. Anyway, and again, if that's into normal play boosters, wicked. I think they weren't though. Don't quote me on that one. The point is, once upon a time, this was part of the normal Magic going experience, and instead what they've done is they've shaved that out and made the normal boosters less exciting to an extent. There are some efforts in like Booster Fun, Project Booster Fun, to have lots of different rare slots available, so they have done some things to make it more fun and interesting in the play booster. I won't completely gloss over that and like ignore that, but the primo super chance of opening something fancy is only in the collector boosters. Now, what I've said in the past is that bugs me, because I think when it comes to the gambling, and it is gambling aspect of booster packs, it is exciting for a newer player or a younger player or a player of less disposable income to crack a pack, find something expensive, trade it in, sell it off or whatever, and it like boosts their, it buys them a new bike. It buys them a bike? Who the fuck's buying a bike in 2025? A bike still, do they still exist? I don't go outside much. Or it allows them to just buy into another deck or buy more product or whatever. It just gives them that fucking boost that I love that element of trading card games. It's one of the reasons that I could excuse the varied rarities, the dog shit cards compared to the good cards, the whole entire, and I say again, the gambling aspect of booster products. But they have over time stripped that out into the collector boosters. At time of recording, there is exactly one card in the normal boosters that's like over $100 with foil showcase for the getting there, if that's available in the normal boosters. I'm not even sure. But either way, through the ages, you've got the Ristic study, and this in foil is over $100, like $300, $400, something like that. It's expensive, even though it's the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen. And I just wish more of that was in the play boosters. It's a criticism that I've had for a very, very long time, and I still hold it now. And hold it even more when the collector boosters become this absolute premium item where people are absolutely price gouging the shit out of them. And it's kind of a symptom of like so many wider problems around collectability and FOMO and so many things compound to create this situation in which you can sell fucking collector boosters for this much money. Like when I see like your average Joe doing a bit of scalping scalping, this is going to be a controversial topic, but if someone buys up a £100 box, like the current bundles, the £80 bundles, and sells them for $150 on eBay, like, I don't like that. It pisses me off to an extent, but I also get it. I get that if you are in a world that is cruel and harsh and you aren't getting that much income from your fucking minimum income job, from working for a corporation that doesn't give a fuck about you, you might just want to make a couple of extra bucks elsewhere by being opportunistic and buying something at a cheaper price from a game store and sticking on eBay for a bit more. I'm not saying everyone should do that, because from a moral standpoint, it is a bit scummy, but I understand the draw to do it if you just need some extra cash. I get it. So that, plus the FOMO, plus the way things are marketed, plus the way that lottery cards are done, all of it leads to people going absolutely fucking crazy for this shit. A serialized Chocobo sold for $40,000, we think. The exact sale price is not known, but this is like estimated by third-party tools, but it's sold on eBay. And the way I found about it was I was perusing Pokey Finance, I think it was, or Pokey Vestments. It's some just terrible subreddit where people just talk about grading all the fucking time. I'm not a fan of it. I was actually looking at it for my own sick amusement and maybe even making a video sort of like ridiculing some of the sentiment on there. I'm sorry if you're a regular on this subreddit. It's just, I think it's kind of garbage. Anyway, the point is, someone had posted about the fucking Chocobo on that subreddit. And I was like, and they were like, wow, is Magic doing better than Pokemon? Because all they give a fuck about is what chase cards people are buying on eBay. What the fuck is this? It's meant to be a game. So, to summarize a little bit, I think that super expensive collector boosters are fucking stupid, but I also don't give a shit if the rest of it's available. The problem we've got is that availability is fucked. Allocation has been fucked. The normal play boosters are up in price. The commander decks are up in price. So you have the situation where it's not even like the average Joe or the normal player or the drafter at your local store is being subsidized. They're also getting fleeced whilst the whales are getting fleeced as they chase that surge foil lottery hit. Also, for the record, these prices are absolutely unsustainable, right? Like, if you can only hit, let's say you hit one surge foil a box, you aren't making your money back, right? I guess if you hit like a dozen $20 cards and one surge foil, you make your money back. But that doesn't seem like good EV to me. I don't know. It seems still inflated. It also makes the game look kind of silly. When the Pokemon investment subreddits are looking at us like, how the fuck are they doing that? I don't know. That to me tells me we're doing something wrong. Will this happen with another set? I don't think Avatar has got the rabid fan base that Final Fantasy has, nor the mainstream adoption. I think Spider-Man has got a wider reach in terms of mainstream. Like, if you ask the average person in the street to name a Spider-Man character, they'll name Spider-Man. If you ask the average normie, like 50-year-old woman in the street to name a Final Fantasy character, they'll ask you to stop fucking bothering them and leave them alone because they think you're a pervert. So there's more mainstream adoption, right? The average kid knows more about Spider-Man than Final Fantasy. I know everyone keeps saying Final Fantasy is so much bigger than Spider-Man and Marvel, but I think you might be in some sort of like terminally online playing Final Fantasy 15 too much bubble, right? But that said, that doesn't change the fact that the people who are into Final Fantasy might be willing to spend more fucking money on it. The average 50-year-old normie woman who knows who Spider-Man is or even knows who Doc Ock or Green Goblin is isn't buying Magic the Gathering packs, and this is not the set to get them into it. They need something else. They need Guy Fieri or some shit. I don't know why I went to Guy Fieri. What the fuck am I talking about? And it's the same as well for the kids. The kids that are like into Spider-Man or know Spider-Man or like Spider-Man more than Final Fantasy, they're not dropping their disposable income to buy £50, £1,000 collector booster boxes, right? £50 boosters, £1,000 boxes. They ain't doing that. So there is this thing where I think Spider-Man is bigger from a mainstream adoption perspective, but it is not the whale hunting product that Final Fantasy was perceived to be and ended up turning out to be perhaps more so than people expected. So I've got this theory that like Universes Beyond things might tick different boxes. I mean, ultimately, it's probably just what whoever Wizards can like get to partner with them. But in reality, they might have different approaches for different audiences, right? So for Final Fantasy, they knew they had a real collector industry whale sort of thing where people will buy insane amounts of product to just chase that high of getting their favorite surge foil anime waifu. Meanwhile, Spider-Man might not be aimed at the same audience, and they might be conscious of this. It's aimed at a younger introductory audience. See, they want Magic to be many things to many people, but most importantly, a huge range of people, so they all keep buying fucking cards in some capacity, or they dip in and out to buy cards in different capacities, and thus they can approach Universes Beyond from different ways. Like, if there is no serialized cards in Spider-Man, I wouldn't be surprised, because they might not. I mean, comic book collectors exist. Maybe I'm undervaluing them a little bit here, but I just think, yeah, the whale hunting isn't as big for Spider-Man. But introductory decks and pre-releases and ways to get kids into stores playing Spider-Man absolutely is something that they will focus on. Sadly, though, they're not bringing the price down to allow kids to be able to buy more packs for their pocket money. Spider-Man is at the same premium Universes Beyond. We're paying the license fee because we're getting cucked by Wizards of the ghost. I mean, that's not quite the correct terminology, but it feels like it. I'm sat in the cuck chair looking at the decent prices whilst Wizards has sex with an IP in front of me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But yes, Spider-Man and Final Fantasy are the cuck pricing. We're the cucks. I need to stop saying cuck. Fucking hell. So in short, to kind of rein this back in, because I feel like I'm going off the deep end, I think we're going to see more collector product that ends up being this expensive in the future, but I don't know if we'll see it this year. Spider-Man has the biggest chance. Maybe Avatar has a much bigger whale collecting sort of community than I think or know about, because I'm not that into Avatar, but I doubt it strongly. Avatar doesn't really fit into my theory. Spider-Man's the mass normie adaptation. Final Fantasy is about the entrenched like whale collectability shit, kind of like how Pokemon is in a way. I don't know where Avatar fits into that sort of like rigid structure. Is Avatar the avant-garde, artistic, art for art's sake universes beyond? I don't even fucking think so. So yeah, I just wanted to share that collector boosters were getting very expensive if you didn't know already. Let me comment down below if you didn't know. If this is the first time you've heard they got this expensive, let me know. And if you already knew, let me know if anything else in this video was thought-provoking or interesting. Like the talk of cuck chairs, for example. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and I do push you and urge you to go to my Patreon and sign up for £2 a month. Come into my Discord server, and I will call you names. I will neg you hard. I will metaphorically poop upon you in Minecraft, of course. Until next time, fuckheads, be good to one another, and I'll see you soon. Ta-ta for now.